Hi everyone, Dave, just got in from work, a couple of beers. That's Estrella, means star in Espanol. It's a nice beer. Just thought I'd do a video, see how you're all getting on with this, what's that, ludicrous insanity, derangement, madness, and also to let you know that I'm not struggling but just tired. I think a lot of us are tired of the constant battles all the time and the ongoing psychological attack and onslaught that those who are oblivious to, because it affects them but they don't know it's affecting them, so they're not processing it in a cognizant, almost conscious way. But it does to us because we know we're being brainwashed. We know we've been subject to an indoctrination campaign lasting many years that's intensified over the last couple of years, and it's becoming as many different angles to it. Is multifaceted, is expertly crafted and carried out. But even when you know you're being brainwashed, you can see the psychological weaponry that is employed across a whole range of different, where you'll see it in advertising, you see it in via media, you see it when you go to the shops, you know, you see it everywhere, don't you? You see it in films. It's absolutely everywhere, as I know you all know this. But even when you're conscious that the messaging is very, very sculpted to achieve a particular aim, it's still difficult sometimes to it affects us, is what I'm saying. You know, we're not impervious to it in terms of it wearing us down, because it's relentless. It's a relentless onslaught done in many, many different ways, all the time, incessant, constant, implicit and overt propaganda. And it does make you, I don't know whether I look tired, I feel tired, it makes you tired. And I guess, you know, this is truly the first war that has been fought, that has been weaponized on the citizens using psychological warfare on a mass scale. With the more or less absence of force, certainly in this country, but using propaganda and indoctrination and psychology to achieve the aims. Now, the problem is that, you know, those of us who have, there was a time where the lie or the lies that were being fed to the masses, to all of us, that at some point most of us even fell for. There was a time where that lie, that sufficed, that was enough, because people believed the lie. But what happens when enough people, or more people, or a critical mass of people see the lie? Well, then what? Well, then censorship has to step up even more. It was already unhinged. Now it's, I don't know how to describe it. There's no truth whatsoever now. And then, you know, if that doesn't work, if censorship doesn't work to quell the flame of, you know, curiosity and the appetite for freedom, then what will replace it ultimately will be force, because that's the only thing left, that's the only weapon left that the state has. I say the state, you know, the state's not, is merely the intermediary between the people and the real dark forces. I know many people subscribe to that theory, I certainly do. So it's when you start thinking about how it might play out, not in this country with COVID, because that they've squeezed that lemon dry now, so it's going to be something else. And what's it going to be? In other countries, though, I talk about force starting to be used, violence. And when you start projecting into the future about what might happen, which way this might go, might not go, and all of the different tactics and weapons and information and methods of psychological manipulation that they have at their disposal, it can send us mad. It can make us mad. So for me right now, I'm in a bit of a cloud of fog where clarity's disappeared for me. I know it'll come back, but right now, in this very, you know, nebulous, confusing atmosphere and society, there's not, you know, clarity is difficult to attain. But right now, for me, it's like just everywhere I look, it's just fog and I can't see properly. And I think that's the result of what I'm talking about, the fact that even though we know we've been brainwashed, it's affecting us. I'll speak for myself, affecting me, but possibly you might agree with me. You know, when you add in things that have happened, specific incidences that have occurred as a result of, and you know, I don't even have, the word evil doesn't do, it's not sufficient, it's not representative, it's not enough for me. But in the absence of any more powerfully descriptive word about what's happened, the evil that has struck close to home for, you know, obviously me and my family and many others as well. You know, and the propaganda, as has always been the case, is to detract and distract away from the evil and to distract the population from the presence of evil and just, you know, and point them somewhere else. Well, when you're a victim of it, you know, as we have been, and I know you all know about the story about my dad. You know, if you don't, I'll put a link in the in the description to a Telegram video I did where I explain it all. Then, you know, those emotions, so you know that you've been subject to a psychological attack, you know there's evil at play, then something horrendous happens and you're personally affected by the loss of a loved one. And then what happens after that? Just more lies, just more manipulation, just more fear with the threat of worse to come. I always like to do counterpoints with my videos, and I don't know whether you'll have noticed this, where I think part of just living, you know, part of existence, part of the human condition is that, you know, we're all to some varying degree, you know, enthralled to our emotions, because that's what makes us who we are. Sometimes you see the world in a more positive light, sometimes you see the world in a more negative light. The same applies to ourselves, the same applies to how we see other people. And I talk about counterpoints because I just think what I try and do at my channel is that whilst the general thread of my content is one of optimism, you will see me appearing to contradict myself from day to day. Some days I'm very, very, very optimistic and, you know, full of, like, you know, love and peace and hope, and other days I'm spotting dangers ahead, and I might be elaborating and articulating real anger and just disenchantment, disenchantment and being disenfranchised by some of those around me, just because I just think what we're going through is so genuinely real in terms of how it's affecting all of our lives that I'm not going to sugarcoat everything. But equally, I'm not going to be a doom monger. So I'll just tell you how I'm feeling. And right now, like I say, in this nebulous, foggy, kind of confusing world where it's almost it's just like I'm just waiting for the next light bulb to go off, or for the fog to clear, or for the light bulb to go off, or for the path to show itself. And experience tells me that that's normal. To feel this way that I do now is normal, particularly when set against the landscape of tyranny and propaganda and coercion, censorship and all the rest of it. And the only way to arrive at that point where there's going to be a set path to the next stage, the next level of awareness, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, is just to feel what I'm feeling now, which is confusion and tiredness. And I hope I've outlined why I feel that way and what's caused it in this video. So the question I'm asking you all is, you know, do you relate to what I'm saying? I guess I'm being a little philosophical in this video, really. Just naturally gone down that route of where you get to a point and you think, right, where am I now? You know, where's the next marker point? Where's the next waypoint? Where do I need to get to next, so I can see the signposts to where we need to go next, where I need to go, where we all need to go? And when you start thinking like that, that's not a good way to think. It's not the right way to think, for me anyway. So it's a case of realizing we're in a war. We're in a long-term psychological savage war, relentless, ruthless, and it's going to wear us down. It's going to make us tired. It's going to confuse us. Even the most clear thinking, emotionally mature, resilient people will feel like how I'm feeling now, and I'm not saying I'm one of those people. I think I'm fairly emotionally mature. I think I'm very resilient, yes. But there's people who are, you know, even more so than me. What I'm saying though is that what we've been subjected to, everybody is of such. I look for the word again, and I keep coming back to it. You know, you could say satanic. You hear the word satanic, you hear the word evil. I sometimes say malevolent and wicked. They don't seem to do it justice for me of what actually is happening to this world and to the people in it. But sometimes we just need to realise when we need to give ourselves a little bit of a break, to maybe just remove ourselves, and when we for a little period of time, and when we do that, that's when the fog clears. So there we go. Just a little bit of a conversation tonight with my Estrella. And now I've got a nice roast dinner to have that my mum has very kindly saved for me. I couldn't go today because I was in work. So that'll be nice. Anyway, do let me know your thoughts, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.